Hello everyone, welcome back, and today we're going to be looking at rotifers under the microscope, probably from flagellates, but there's going to be two main types of rotifers in this video, the ones with shells and the ones without shells. Now right here we've got a group of rotifers without shells, and these are the most common types. Now the big brown lump in their body is their stomach. And if you look at this one over here, if you look at some of them you can see them feeding. For example, this one here, and it's got loads of cilia on the end of it, which enable it to draw food into its mouth so it can feed. And those two pieces of skin with the cilia are called the two crowns, and they're covered in cilia, and they basically whir around and around, and it pulls food in, and that's how the rotifers feed. Now we can see loads of other rotifers here. The way rotifers latch onto the plants is by their one singular foot, which has two spikes on the end of it which help it latch onto any kind of detritus. Now, got a large rotifer over here. We've got a nice feeding rotifer, which I'm going to zoom in on because it's like a very beautiful rotifer, this one does. Now this rotifer, by the looks of it, is currently feeding. You can't see its two cilia covered crowns at the moment, but you saw it earlier when it wasn't zoomed in. But they use those two crowns of cilia to draw in prey, as I said. So, there we go. You can see them again now. As you can see, if you look, all the algae and all the prey and all the detritus is spinning round in circles around the rotifer, and if you look, a lot of it's going into its mouth, and a lot of it is also being pulled into its body, where it gets digested by the rotifer. Now here we got our other type of rotifer, a shelled rotifer. This rotifer, during this video, I don't know if it's its real name, but I'm going to call it a shelled rotifer during this video, because it makes it easy to recognise by a shelled rotifer name. This rotifer, as the name I'm giving it suggests, has a shell, and it's a bit shorter as well. It uses the same method of feeding, but you can't see it use that method as clearly as you can with the rotifers without the shells, because their whole body is squished into that shell. And on this particular rotifer you can see the tail quite well, and the tail it uses to latch onto things. You can see a lot of algae around it and a few tiny ciliates. There's something else I've been seeing in this specimen which I'll show you in not long, which is the flagellates in this specimen. Here we go, here's another rotifer. Look awesome, don't they? Rotifers are always going to look brilliant. And you can see all that food being swirled around in circles near it, and it's going to be coming into its mouth, and it's going to digest all the food it can eat. And while it's eating food, a rotifer's stomach is going to fill up, basically. So the stomach is the orange blob there. It's going to go downwards from the stomach, and if you look below the stomach, there's a patchy area which looks green. Now that's where the intestines are, and the food is going to go through there before coming out its bottom, which is just at the bottom. of the rotifer's long tail. You can see it quite clearly right now, and you can see, if you look closely, the pointed foot at the end of the rotifer, and that's detached onto the detritus that the rotifer is on. And this rotifer, those rows of cilia are very, very unique to other animals. You're not going to see many animals with two loads of cilia that draw in food that often. Like ciliates have rows of cilia as well, but rotifers use this for food feeding. Ciliates don't really use their cilia for feeding as much as they do for moving around. And with ciliates, they usually have cilia covering their entire bodies. Well, in most cases. In some cases, like with Blepharisma ciliates, where the cilia is on one particular part of their body, the ciliates use the cilia along their body to move around. While rotifers here use the cilia to move around, but mainly to feed. And it's very effective. As you can see, this rotifer here is using its tail to move around to different locations. You can see its tail very clearly there. Just here. It's very clearly this rotifer's tail. And that tail is used, we know what the tail is used for, it's used to latch onto things. So this rotifer looks a bit smaller by the looks of it. And it's doing the same thing as this rotifer is, drawing in food. So let's zoom out now. And let's see what else we can find in this specimen. I see something already that I'd like to show you. Just if I can find. There we go. So I'm going to show you the other kind of animal species that lives in here with the rotifers at the moment. This is a flagellate. By the looks of it, it's a euglena. And these flagellates use a long whip-like tail to move around. So that euglena is just in there. It's a bit hard to see now because it's gone into the algae. I'll try and find another one because I really want to be able to show you the flagella on this the euglena. Like, I'm pretty sure most of you, or some of you at least, would have seen the flagella on that one, but just in case, I wonder if I can find another one to show you all. So let's have a look around this slide. We've got rotifer there, shelled rotifer here, a tiny little ciliate just there, more shelled rotifers. Hoping we'll find the flagellate soon. I see one. Oh wait, I found a group of them. Well, a few of them at least. So I'll zoom in here. Here we go. There's one here. This is a flagellate. It's moving a bit wildly right now. But as you can see, if you look on the front of it, it's got a long tail called a flagella, which is just whipping around and moving this euglena. if you look on the front of the euglena, beside where the flagella is, you might see a red spot there. And that red spot is its eye spot. So that's the flagellate euglena. If we look around there, oh, there's a rotifer. If you look around there, you can see there's a lot of really, really small algae around this place. What on earth is that? Well, I don't know what that red stuff is. I'll just zoom out a minute to see. I'm not sure what that red stuff is. It looks like there's something here though. That must be a flagellate. Yeah, it's a flagellate. So let's wander around this place and see what else we can find. There's a lot of rotifers doing their feeding. You can see a rotifer there. And we've got a clear spot with a lot of algae here. So I'm going to zoom into all this. Now this is all algae. You can see some crescent shaped ones. You can see some that look like 4 of them detached together. You can see a load of round ones. And there's a lot of them too. You can see a big long one there. This is all algae basically. And that, oh, there's a euglena. This algae is the stuff most of the living organisms here that are bigger than it feed on. As you can clearly see it's green colour at the moment. So let's zoom out of all that. Got more. What's there? Oh gosh. There's a red thing along the top here. That's clearly red. And then down here there's something that looks a bit bluish. Doesn't look very good. You know why? Looks a lot like microplastic. We don't really want to be looking at microplastic on this channel. Gets in the way of the beauty that's actually in here. Yeah. So seriously, do not litter, or else you will end up with more of this microplastic. Oh, it's actually a lot of it. All these strands of microplastic. If you litter, there'll be more microplastic in these videos. So please don't litter. We don't want to pollute the whole micro world with plastic. Nor do we want to pollute the sea or anywhere else in this world. Okay, so we got loads of rotifers. We got one that was spinning just then. I think I've lost track of it. Rotifers are generally everywhere. Right, now there's another rotifer. Well, I think I'm going to have to end this video here, and I hope you enjoyed it. We saw a lot of rotifers, a lot of flagellates, and a lot of algae today. And I hope you really enjoyed the video. Have a nice time, and don't forget to subscribe.